Something is breaking in the software industry, and we can all feel it. The speed of business has completely outrun the speed of writing code manually. Every boardroom demand and customer expectation collides against a wall of specification, sprint planning, and manual reviews. We need to stop describing what software should do and start commanding it into existence immediately. For 60 years, we have whispered to machines in their native tongue using syntax, semicolons, and memory management. That era is finally ending as we cross into intent-driven development. You describe the outcome you seek, and an autonomous system composes, verifies, and operates the software. The last line of code a human writes will be a threshold of liberation. A founder sees a product clearly, but between that vision and a working feature lies a massive chasm of backlog grooming and CI/CD pipelines. Intent-driven development completely collapses that chasm. The distance between imagination and operation shrinks from months to moments because we have finally made coding the machine's job rather than the human's. This new reality is orchestrated by a constellation of specialized AI agents, each a master of its domain. One agent reasons over system architecture, another retrieves proven patterns to generate secure code, while a third conducts generative testing to probe for edge cases. A unified conductor observes them all, dynamically reallocating tasks and ensuring coherence. Intent becomes a living system through a new kind of compiler that processes desire instead of syntax. When you declare your business goals, the system does not guess. It engages in chain-of-thought reasoning, asking clarifying questions about security, integration points, and latency budgets. The intent is decomposed into a dependency graph of verifiable subgoals. Once the plan is locked, a relentless inner loop activates. For each subgoal, a coding agent retrieves context, generates an implementation, and submits it to a critique agent. This cycle spins at machine speed with hundreds of iterations per minute. Code is generated, tested, and refined in a single unbroken cycle, emerging battle-hardened. The blueprint orchestrates a multi-agent symphony in parallel. Multiple specialized agents work on the authentication layer, database migrations, and front-end components simultaneously. They negotiate interfaces in real time, resolving conflicts through structured debate. If a bottleneck emerges, the conductor agent dynamically reshuffles priorities, achieving nonlinear scaling. Let me ground this with a real workflow. A founder types, "I need an API that extracts clinical insights from unstructured notes." The system clarifies integration points, writes the NLP module, generates a test suite, and fires thousands of synthetic records through the pipeline. It discovers edge cases, patches them, and deploys. The entire lifecycle compresses to 90 seconds. What kind of infrastructure sustains this miracle? A completely reimagined runtime. Ephemeral, hermetic sandboxes spawn per task, execute generated code in isolation, capture full telemetry, and vanish. A semantic code graph stores every line ever generated, indexed by similarity, allowing the system to retrieve and adapt proven solutions in milliseconds. Raw generation alone is not enough. The system must learn from every creation. The semantic code graph forms a living, organizational memory that stores every pattern, bug fix, and architectural decision ever made. When a new intent arrives, the retrieval layer retrieves the reasoning trails and trade-offs previously encountered, making every subsequent creation smarter. Once deployed, the software does not become a frozen artifact. A runtime guardian agent watches it forever, continuously comparing live behavior against the original intent specification. If latency drifts or a security vulnerability emerges, the guardian autonomously optimizes the bottleneck, patches the system, and redeploys without waking a human. We need new ways to measure excellence. Legacy metrics like lines of code or sprint velocity are meaningless when Code is generated and discarded in sub-second cycles. We now measure the mean time from intent to production, intent fidelity, and adaptation speed. We are no longer measuring developer productivity, but creation velocity itself. This power doesn't arrive in a vacuum. It integrates with tools developers already use, fanning out from IDE panels to GitLab and CI/CD runners. It plugs into incident response, allowing you to say, analyze the outage and propose a hotfix. API gateways and cost monitors are first-class citizens in this conversational control plane. The strategic implications are structural. Projects that once required a 12-person team and an 18-month runway are now realized by a single thinker and a fleet of agents in weeks. The cost of experimentation collapses, enabling organizations to place 100 small bets. Legacy modernization transforms from a manual rewrite into an intent declaration. This shift births an entirely new discipline, intent engineering. The role of the developer transforms from instruction giver to outcome definer and safety guardrail keeper. The most valuable skill is no longer syntax fluency, but the ability to articulate business desire with precision. Humans do what they do best, imagine and define value, and machines do the rest. Widen the aperture. Intent-driven development moves beyond software into hardware description, generating chip designs from performance goals. It becomes multimodal, allowing sketches, spoken vision, and gestures to spawn functional applications. Recursive systems identify their own shortcomings and evolve themselves, guided by human desire at the outermost loop. We stand at the threshold. Intent-driven development is not a better way to code. It is the end of coding as a bottleneck to human creativity. The agent constellation is awake and learning. What remains is your willingness to shift identity from a writer of instructions to a speaker of visions. Watch the software assemble itself and speak the future.